episode of the Boundary2Boundary podcast. My name's Dave.
My name is Andy Buzzer.
I'm sure you'll get to know us over time. What we're going to do today, we're going to do a little intro into how this all started, what our backgrounds are, a little bit about ourselves, and then we'll end the podcast by talking about where we're looking to take it, what sort of topics and stuff we're going to be looking to discuss. So, Buzz, welcome to the first episode.
This feels like one of those 1980s dating things where you've got to put yourself out there and be like, I like long walks on the beach. I like listening to classical rock music. So who I am?
Right by that point.
Andy Buzzer. How do I describe myself? Cricket coach. I've been coaching cricket for probably 10 years. Full time for 5. Self-employed for a year and a half. So I run my own coaching business called Buzz About Cricket, and I absolutely love what I do. I love what I do. It's the one thing, in terms of cricket for me is everything. It is my profession. It is my hobby, and currently in lockdown, having things like this podcast.
Frustrating, isn't it?
And the lives that we've been doing, it's my release and it's my my cricket outlet, shall we speak. What about yourself, Dave?
Yeah, so I mean, a similar sort of thing. So I'm obviously have the same thing as Buzz. I run with 2 other people a cricket academy called Top Cricket Academy, which is one of my primary use of my time, or doing all the social media on that. But I also work a lot for the county as well. So I'm coming from a background of coaching before playing as such, which probably sets me out from a lot of other people. So I'm 24, and I never went down the route of playing to any sort of level comparatively with like county or age group, anything like that. So I went straight from university into coaching.
What did you study at uni?
PR, media, marketing. So nothing to do with sport. Because my thought process was like, I wanted to go to university first and foremost because I wanted to try and grow up and mature and experience all the stuff I was going to experience. And I also wanted to have something that was quite generic that would open a few doors for me once I decided what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I got myself the degree, and it's, if you're interested, upper second class degree in PR, media, marketing.
We're interested, mate.
If you're still here by now, thank you. But yeah, and I just sort of went from there to continuing to coach cricket, and I've gone more down that line than the marketing line. Yeah. What about yourself?
I think well, both of us, and we'll see in the chats, and I think people have seen in the live stuff that we've been doing. We're not ex-professional cricketers, and we're not cricketers who are trying to make it in the game. We are just 2 people who coach cricket for a living. We have a knowledge set on the game, but we don't try and pretend to be the world's elite best coaches. But we are 2 people who, I think, I don't want to be speaking for you, but I know you well enough to be looking to learn different ideas and different skills, and just talk cricket related topics. So there's no pretentious viewpoints or anything like that that's going to be coming your way on this podcast. It's simply just 2 blokes rambling on about cricket and just hopefully having a few decent debates along the way.
I can be sure of that. I completely agree with what you said there, Buzz. I think it's a case of what's brought us together particularly is the fact that we have similar views on a lot of things to do with cricket. We both, obviously coming from the coaching background, we have a perspective that we've developed over time on the game, and it provides us with a different outlook, which has it calls from the lives. It's caused some points for debate, but it's also caused some points that people have sat and gone.
What did you think? So when I obviously no one will know how the lives came about. I sent out an Instagram message to a few coaches on the social media world that is that which I think the vast majority of coaches are in now. It's almost like the calling card of coaches. Just saying but fondest, and it was genuine, like good luck to everyone that's out there, and I think there's going to be a lot of coaches or a lot of people within the sporting world and the sporting industry that are struggling at the moment because we're not able to do what we do for a living. Through that, obviously, Liam is a mate of yours, so another director of your company. And I spoke to him about creating this sort of live idea of having a chat, and no one will know you and I've never actually formally met. So before the lives, we never really contacted at all, and then through the lives, we've built this. We've built the start of something new, which is great. And the irony is, although there's been so much taken away because of the situation that we're in. Something new and an exciting project, an exciting thing has kind of come from it. So
it's a new opportunity, isn't it? And that's what's crazy is people won't know if you have watched us on the lives, and you continue to watch us because we will keep going live as well. We spoke once on the phone the day before the first live podcast or live episode that we did on our Instagram channels. We didn't rehearse it. We literally had one phone call where we said, "Hi, my name's Dave." Almost like the dating thing we said at the start. It was like
but there'll be people out there now, and it's so good that the lives just get deleted. But there'll be times where they're like, "What are these guys going on about? We don't know each other."
That's what's so mental, and that's where like you say, from the ashes of this modern time where we are struggling.
We should have called this the Phoenix podcast.
Yeah,
from the ashes.
The rise of the ashes. And then it could have linked back to the actual, mate, we missed a trick. Boundary to Boundary, we'll get onto the name in a bit. But yeah, it started from Buzz having the idea of wanting to bring together the online community to support each other. And that's something we're looking to do in the future we got good relationships with all of the other cricket channels that you can think of around social media and Instagram. And it's something that we want to have conversations. Like Buzz said, the key for us is that it's a learning platform for us to be able to engage with people, find out new things. I've never learnt more about cricket than in the past 2 weeks.
Mate, this
doing all the research for the live.
I could not agree with you more. And interacting with people, it makes you think about what you're saying. I think you can be, when you talk about sport, and this is the beauty about sport, it's so it can be so objective at times, but it can also be so subjective. There's so many different points, and I love it when someone brings out a stat or someone just mentions something or a particular moment, and it makes you completely not second guess, but reevaluate what you kind of thought you were narrow-minded and kind of set on. And it goes from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset. You're like, oh, actually, yeah, I can see where that individual is coming from. And yeah, like you're saying, when it comes to social media, and the reason why I think it's so important that we do reach out is because there is no way you can be the best coach you can be or the best individual you can be if you don't express an interest in other people and learn from other people. So I think this opportunity, although frustrating for, like I say, for so many people in our coaching community, it's a great opportunity to kind of reach out, just like you and I have done, and meet more people and kind of get to know some philosophies that they go through in their stories and how they've gone about their coaching. And I think in the end, it will make everybody a better coach, player, person, whatever you want to do it.
Absolutely, flipping it on its head.
It is on its head, yeah, exactly.
And it's exactly. It's the silver lining to this whole thing. But yeah, going back to how this all begun as well, it's a case of like we've got, like I said we had similar interests, we have similar views on cricket, but actually it's been interesting to see how naturally, I think after every single live, there's been a phone call or exchange of messages where we said that felt so natural. And I think that's the beauty of talking cricket, is that we have similar but also quite different viewpoints on cricket, but we can have a natural conversation that flowed. And I think what's been good in terms of, so Buzz and I, relatively speaking, in terms of the bigger picture of the world map, we're quite close together. We're only about 4-hour drive apart, but there's people we're engaging with that have got different viewpoints from all different parts of the world. And I think that's one where cricket is quite unique in the sense that it's so well supported around the world and in different areas. And everyone from different areas can have different viewpoints on certain things. And this is what's been interesting for us in engaging with the audience on the lives, is sort of seeing more people's viewpoints and learning from other people. And I think it's interesting, I think, sort of going back to the lives, how the direction in which we've taken the content that we've done and how enjoyable it's been to engage with different people who have such different viewpoints.
Well, this is the thing, and hopefully what we can bring throughout this podcast is a look at those different things. And I think where the view and the kind of niche, I guess, that we're looking at as two relatively new people within this field is, I want to speak to people who are at a grassroots level, at a real amateur level, village level, some would say. I want to speak to those people and why they play cricket and why they love cricket.
Yeah.
All right. But I want to, reach out to a few people, and we've got a few contacts within the game, and speak to professionals and about why they're playing it, and do they still have that love for the game, and do they see it as the enjoyment and that kind of that thirst that I think amateurs have for sport. I want to know if that's still there at the elite level. And if it is there, does it play a part in either plateauing them as players or pushing them to the next level? Because for me, I went through a lull during setting up my business of like almost cricket overload. And like I say, I love cricket. I am a, you can look at my back, I've got a white stripe because I'm a badger. But
I love that. I've got a white stripe, I'm a badger.
But it's true. It's actually a birth defect. No, it's not really. But the fact is, when you're in it so much, when you're coaching it, when you're watching it, there can be so much time where you're like, wow, that I'm on a complete overload of this sport. I want to know if professionals feel like that, and does that affect their love for it, or does it affect their performances? And it'll be interesting to speak to both ends of the spectrum and see where their kind of desires lie within our sport.
Yeah, because obviously it starts off as a hobby. We wouldn't get into these fields if we didn't love the game. We didn't have a vested interest. And actually, like you're saying, Buzz, it's for us, it's individually, it's nurtured into something bigger. Obviously, involvement in a coaching capacity, and actually, what does it mean to the top level performers and the professionals in terms of, does the mindset change, or is it quite continuous through? And I think in terms of what we're looking to cover in this podcast, we're going to obviously give a lot of perspective on cricket. And not just from a coach's perspective, but also from a fan's perspective, from I'd like to think semi well researched, well travelled perspective in terms of watching a lot of cricket, but also a case of like a uniqueness to how natural the conversations are, and bringing in people from different areas and different backgrounds to bring together what makes cricket so unique. Because this is one thing that, because I've come from a football background. My first sport I played and followed the most was football, and I think only in recent years have I really understood just the differences between the two, and why I've got more of a thirst and a hunger to go down the cricket route than the football route, because
they're nicer people, for one, mate.
Well, exactly, that's a good start. And
that's my biggest thing. I remember when I was playing football, I used to love the comment when you get the ball, you go around someone, especially in a Sunday league game, they'll kick you, and then they would go to the ref. Yeah, sorry, mate, he's just too quick for me. And the ref's like, yeah, fair enough. How does that justify you booting me in the leg, mate? You know what I mean? Like, and then you end up having a scrap. But no, cricket to me, it's the most inclusive sport that there is. However, it is also it's got its downfalls, and that's what I want to talk about as well. I want to talk about the highs and the lows of cricket, because when you look at cricket and the way that we're talking about cricket, we're shining this up to be this perfect game that everyone loves. Well, the reality is there's a lot of flaws within the game. There's a lot of darkness to our game. There's a lot of seediness, and there's a lot of what I call blazery, or as my dad would call blazery, the men with the blazers. So this is the sort of stuff that we're going to talk about, and this won't work unless we get constant feedback and constant support from people listening. So those who've regularly kind of tuned into our lives, we still want to be speaking to these guys as much as possible, and really getting the information coming from these guys and the questions. And I think that it's going to be a great opportunity to talk about things that people don't necessarily talk about. We're not going to be taking sides. It's just going to be an open debate. It's going to be two blokes and their opinion, but I especially want just people giving as much information as we possibly can, because like you said, it's all about learning. It's all about discovering new things about what we believe to be a beautiful game.
Yeah, and I think you've summed it up pretty well there. I think it's a case of we're all on this journey to understand more about what makes cricket so special, and without getting too much into it, I think there's lots of parts to that journey and that understanding, and I think it comes from opinions from people, but it also comes from fact from people, because that's the beauty of sport. There is no right and wrong answer, and I think this is something that can link quite closely with coaching, in that one of the things is there is no right or wrong way of doing something. So it's important that we review.
That's changed as well, hasn't it? There used to be, and I'm slightly old. I'm 29 years old now. I know I look great. Thanks very much. I'm bewildered at how much that philosophy has changed about the not the right or the wrong. Because I remember growing up, and I remember being coached how to play cricket, and I was taught like quite a lot. You do not do that. You do not go across the line. You do not do this. This is how you play this shot. No, that is wrong. You're going to set up like this. On page 17, it clearly states that your chin needs to be touching your shoulder, and when you're bowling, you need to be brushing your ear. Mate, imagine if Malinga was told to brush his ear. Do you know what I mean? Like these are the actual things that we need to be speaking about more. And kind of shedding some light on, because I think out of everything that goes around in the world and how much the world is changing within the last 10 years, sport is evolving and changing with it. And our game is no different to that. In fact, I would probably argue with the major competitions of the IPL, the big bashes, etc. I think our game, out of every game in the world, has probably been the biggest effect of evolution and change from what it originally started up all those years ago.
Yeah, and it's the shift from a time where cricket was considered to be one thing to where it's been produced to now, from the test match days of the day of the gentleman, and the sense of this slow game that people can appreciate over time, and how much it's almost like a story that plays out, and it's a slow burner. You get involved and you get invested into it. So these bite-sized franchises where the game's come to this point where we're seeing people doing incredible things on a very regular basis, and rewriting what is traditional history. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted to do the podcast, is mainly because two blokes that talk a hell of a lot, and actually, rather than us being on the phone to each other for 2 hours, if we can share even half of our views with you guys, it would be fantastic. But also as a way of trying to get to the bottom with detailed discussions in where the direction the game's going, how the game's changed, what we think of the direction, what we think is a realistic expectation from the direction, and how, and like Buzz said, how the sport that we love and we grew up being one thing is evolving every day. And that evolution, think of even me thinking where I was when I first came into the game as a viewer, when I first started enjoying it as a stakeholder, to where it's developed to, is so different. And that's in the space of like 5-10 years. And it's crazy to think.
I think we've completely missed a trick for this name. We're talking about the Ashes, we're talking about the Phoenixes, we're talking about evolution. We've gone with Boundary to Boundary. But absolutely not. But the reason why we've gone with Boundary to Boundary is because, number one, obviously a great cricketing term, but it's the fact that there's no topic that's off limit within our game of cricket, and maybe without cricket as well, because I think we forget how much is transferred within our game now, and how Americanized almost cricket is becoming, and that the link between the baseball and the cricketing world, and the big lights, the fireworks, the dances, and everything like that. But Boundary to Boundaries is representing that. Like I say, there's no topic that's kind of off limits. We're going to be discussing everything that we want to do and that you want to listen to, and hopefully have some real interesting and fun debates around it, because whether we know it or not, we think we're quite entertaining.
We tend to say ourselves. We might just sit and refresh it and keep watching it back. I mean, it gets me 24 hours in a day. If we talk for an hour a day, I can listen 24 times to this podcast.
Our mums will be so proud, won't they?
I'm sure. Well, they'll hopefully come with some questions. I might have to teach my dad to use the internet so he can make a few fake accounts. But you know what? Like Buzz said, it's for us. It's a love of the game, and it's nurtured this product from being two blokes running two online cricket academies and two Instagram pages, to two blokes sitting and talking about cricket through the medium of Instagram, to being to trying to transfer our time into something that's a positive, hopefully a positive thing for the community, because especially during this time, and we don't know how long it's going to last for, it's really nice that from what we've got from the Instagram live so far, that we're able to entertain people for even a portion of their day. And I think we talk about obviously everything's going on in the world at this moment in time. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not well read enough to be able to provide input, but this is something that's given us respite from what's going on in the rest of the world. This has broken up this for us to give us an opportunity and a platform to just talk openly about cricket for a couple of hours. So it's something that hopefully you'll enjoy. On the name, I think like I say, I like to think it will be catchy in time. It will sort of roll off the tongue slightly. Massive thank you to my girlfriend who did the badge for it, and Mike Rose, who runs the Free Bridges channel, for doing the promo at the start, the intro. I'm sure you guys will have lots of pointers in terms of what we can do, and how confident or not confident you think one of us is maybe talking, but we'll get that over time. Like I say, with the Instagram, it started off as one thing, it's grown into something completely different in a sense.
Who knows? Yeah. I might be moving up to London soon. If this kicks off, well, actually, that's a lie, because Devon is the best place on earth. And you mentioned the 4-hour drive earlier, and let's face it, it's a better 4-hour drive when you're coming down to Devon if I'm coming up to London.
Well, controversy. Day one. This is what we love to see. safe to say, guys, Buzz may think about the option of coming to London. I have been to Devon on numerous occasions. As much as it is a lovely place, I have no plans to shut up shop and move that way across the country. However, who knows in the future, because we're not when you get something, I'm a believer, when you got something like a model and you're enjoying doing something, you've just got to roll with it. So this is the beauty of it, and this actually is strangely, it applies to the bigger picture as well, in terms of what starts as one thing develops into something else. So who knows what could be developed in this? Who knows how we can find ways to interact with our audience and topics and stuff that we can talk about. But yeah, I think there's the opportunity.
I think the reality is, though, Dave, sorry to cut you off, mate, but the reality is when we look at what we started with the lives, if it wasn't for the interaction and the feedback that we got from the people that we're doing with, although, we're not talking millions upon millions, but, just seeing the same faces, the same names coming back, asking the same questions and really getting involved, kind of, it allowed us to think about, actually, there is a market out there for people who want to talk about cricket and want to listen to, like we say, two blokes just rambling on about cricket. But without those names and without the familiarity of those people coming back, this wouldn't even be possible. So the concept of giving us the confidence to do it, and like you said, taking advantage of a bad situation, I think that's the best way. And we spoke about this situation. We're not going to go too much into depth, because you're right, we know more about cricket than we do about COVID-19. But the reality is, if you can't look at the positive and seize an opportunity for that, then we'd be stupid not to at least try and kind of give back. And at the end of the day, I enjoy doing this stuff. I know that you enjoy doing this stuff. So let's just roll with it and see what happens. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a success, and we'll do it for many weeks, months, years to come.
Absolutely. And this is the thing about it. You go into things in life with an idea of a plan, and you have a rough outline of what you might do. And then who knows what might happen with it. But like I say, it's something that we owe a lot to our audience in the first part for getting behind and supporting us. And actually, people don't need to take time out of day. I mean, there was times when we were going up to 2 hours on the Instagram live, and people were sitting through it and engaging with us, and even at the end saying
through it.
But in terms of like the consistency of being, that sounds really bad.
Yeah, to be fair to them, they just he just sat there. He sat there the whole time. You know what I mean? It was a fair play.
Yeah, there was no complaints. He just sat there like a torture tactic. He just didn't even bother moaning. But no, they've been there throughout, and they've even taken the time to say thank you. And they, at the end of the podcast, they have positive things to say, or the end of the, I keep calling it a podcast. God knows what to call it. At the end of the live episodes, they always say thank you, and it's one of those things where it's a community. And I think if we can give anything to the community, if we can even put one good point or one thought-provoking comment into the community that gives someone an idea for a day that they might sit and think, you know what, I'm going to work through that. I mean, yesterday, and I'm going to go back to it, I said it on the live today, there's a young lad that we coach over our way, and Buzz and I have been designing our T20, our ODI, and our test teams, and we will go back and revisit this topic, because now we've learned. I, for one, have definitely learned a lot more when I do my new team. But there was one lad who took what we said.
You learn to take a whipping, boy.
Yeah, well, I lost 3. We did the teams, put them up on our stories, and I lost 3-0 of all the teams. But anyway, we'll get onto that another point, I'm sure, in a later podcast. And one of the lads actually went away following the conclusion of the podcast and wrote all our teams down, researched the average of each of the players, economy rates of bowlers, strike rates of batters, and come back to us and said, this is why I think this team's better. And that's one example. I'm not saying all of our audience needs to do that, but this is an example of how we can provide. We like to provide something to the community. And if I can say one thing, I'd like to begin to initiate conversations between people about cricket. That's my goal as a coach, is to get people talking about cricket, understanding the game, and debating it. And I think through this opportunity, through this podcast, we've got the ability to debate between ourselves, but hopefully stem the ideas for some debates between you guys.
And my end goal is to meet Ravindra Jadeja and take a selfie with him. But two very two very good things that it's very
so profound, so deep.
Profound, no, of course not. But that is actually true. If I did, that would be absolutely fantastic. Just for facial hair alone. No, but I think what you're saying there is just having that ability to offer something. And we're going to get abused at times. I've already been
more than often. I imagine.
Yeah, of course. Bring it on. Bring it on. I honestly, I cannot stress enough how there is no topic that is off limit. There is no boundary to where we're going to stop talking about a certain thing. It's been highlighted, and then I drink coffee a lot on the lives, literally, and I may be addicted to it, but if I get a coffee sponsorship out of it, I'm happy. So bring it on there.
Quick disclaimer. We haven't currently got a sponsor, so if anyone is interested in coming forward as a sponsor, we won't say no. You don't feel like you have
won't say no.
And we are up to promoting any brands within reason. Reason. We've been very much within reason. You
probably got more reason than me, if I'm honest. But I'll be like, yeah, come on.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's got a relative. I mean, it's all relative to cricket in some way, even coffee. But no, yeah, I just think it's let's keep quite streamlined. What got you into cricket over other sports, Buzz, do you reckon?
For me, so it's not actually naturally my best sport. So I'm not a world beater when it comes to cricket. I'll be the first person to say that. I think I would classify myself as a good to average club semi-professional player. I grew up playing football. I grew up playing golf and cricket. However, the reason why I love cricket, or cricket really spoke to me, is one, the engagement it allowed me to have with other people, and as being quite an extrovert person, the concept of that changing room, that environment that you're in, and that constant that banter that goes back and forth. I've built what is now my closest friends through cricket, and without cricket, I wouldn't have the group of fantastic people around me. It also gave me direction. It really, if I went back to school now, I'd probably be labelled with ADHD or something like that. I'm a bit scatty, I'm a bit all over the hockey, but I think cricket is really, like I say, giving me direction. It's giving me focus, and it's giving me that tangible to kind of focus on one task and try and succeed at it. Don't get me wrong, I love sport. And I think the one thing that I'm going to get across probably on a lot of these podcasts is that there is no sport that I won't watch. There is no sport I won't talk about. But where I lacked when it came into golf, my brother's a professional golfer and he's a fantastic golf coach. I didn't like the individual side of it. And it went back down to the training aspect. It went down to the competition aspect. It was an individual game. And I didn't have the mental capacity to focus and concentrate on that one skill. And that's where, I didn't have it, to be honest with you, at cricket at a younger level. It's probably why I never reached maybe a level of cricket I should have got to. But what cricket has given me is the tools to develop those skills. And from a coaching standpoint, I'm actually really lucky that I'm able to impart that knowledge now on younger players who have not struggled, but where I can kind of see exactly almost a mini me and go, look, kid, you've got something there. You just need to get a little bit more direction and you can get to another level. And that's what, that's where my obsession with cricket started. And that's why I love doing what I'm doing. Is for you, you've obviously mentioned that you were a footballer before, and the back of a few of your photos on social media, I can tell that by your hairstyle.
Hence the hat. It doesn't think any better. Hence the hat. You'll see the lot. I want to try and put a different hat.
What's your story then when it comes to cricket? How did you get involved?
So yeah, mine's interesting as such because I don't come from a cricket background. I think uniquely, a lot of times when people I've played with, people that I've seen, there's very high parent interaction in that and parent engagement, especially from a county standpoint. You tend to see that people come from a background of parents that have played cricket or even still play cricket a lot of the time for village teams or whatever. But my parents have never been into cricket. So for me, it was like I signed up for an after-school club, did a couple of sessions. And I think uni was a big turning point for me with regards to cricket because I played football and cricket consistently throughout. And I was okay at both, never really amazing at either. But at uni, I was meant to go to, this is a bit of a silly story, but when you go to uni, you go to like freshers fairs, and I went to the stall for football and stall for cricket. And I remember the cricket trials in the afternoon at 3:00, and the football trials were 9:30 in the morning. So I didn't bother going to football. I went to cricket. I couldn't bother to get up, and that for me it just sums up cricket. Like it to me was the lazy man's game. Mid-afternoon, I could rock up, have a net. Football was like meet up, go for a run, make sure we were fit enough. Cricket, I just rocked up, had a net. And I developed this friendship group, which was incredible on the back of
just fat lazy people. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, terrible rigs between us, the worst rigs in sport. But no, it was this sense of like you had the jet players, the ones that have come from maybe a county age group program. You have the players that just absorb the game because they're badgers, they love the game. You've got players that that can play a bit. You've got players that come from other sports that are naturally talented, so they fit in, and the dynamic was incredible. And I think from that, I just got this love and this passion for the game, and I just started watching it more, playing it more, and that's why
it's interesting. So in both of our points there, we're talking about that interaction with other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like obviously you're mentioning how, you know, it's not actually the sport that got you involved. It was the people that
absolutely
linked you to keep coming back.
Absolutely, and that maintains the case now. Like for someone, because realistically, it's like anything. It's not the same as football, the conversion rates. But if you're in a county age group program, the likelihood of you going on to become a professional cricketer is very slim. But I feel like in a different way to football, the number of players that are retained within cricket because of this sense of for these friendships, the community, the altogether feel. You don't have the number of layers that you have in a football where you can, if you're not a professional, you can then drop down and get a bit of money to play. The cricket model only works to serve a few, but the number of people that engage with the game in some capacity. In my local club, Bexley, that I play for, on a Saturday, you'll have crowds of up to 30, 40 people sometimes. I know it's not huge, but these are people giving up 8 hours on a Saturday to come and sit and watch cricket.
Yeah.
And that's what I think sets it out. And you'll get the same with village cricket clubs. And I think when you talk about your love for the game, you love the game as a whole and what it entails as opposed to just.
It goes back into that personal thing as well. Like I get absolutely perplexed when after a game of cricket, you've slogged away all day with a group of guys that 9 times out of 10 become your mates because you simply spend that much time with people.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't give them a second glance on the street, yeah.
And then they'll go, you say you've battled away all day, you've scraped the win with blood, sweat, and tears, simply because one team's bowled 75 extras and the other team's only bowled 63, and everything's like, and then someone goes, oh, I can't come out tonight. My new missus said that we've got to spend a bit of time together. And you're like, what are you going on about? Like, if you're a cricketer, people know that from Saturdays in May to the Saturday at the end of August, you don't see anyone else. You literally
and even mid-Sunday, you literally Friday night you kiss your missus goodnight and you go back to yours prepared. You can't be in the same room. You need to prepare yourself properly, even if you're going to get 20 not out. You'll get your token 20, or you take your 1 for 50 in 10, and you do a bit of a shift in the field. But from that moment, you get there, have a look at the ground, make yourself a cup of tea, sit on the chair, maybe do a little bit of a warm up if you fancy it. Then you go out, you play the game, and then you just get on the pot. And if you end up going to a nightclub, brilliant. If not, you end up in the clubhouse till half 2. That is, I mean, I'm probably sound the most hypocritical person because that is everything I wasn't doing. Because my whole life was like, right, Saturdays, I'm not that good at cricket. I'll give up. I coach full time. I'm not doing this. But now I miss it even more, and I'm going to get back into playing. But quintessentially,
so you don't play at all anymore?
No, well, last year I played 1 game. Last year.
Wow.
Because and without getting into too much, I coach in the county age group pathway at Kent for the girls, and all their cricket's on Saturdays. So what I was finding was I was like sort of coaching all day with the girls, and then I wouldn't have a chance to play. But now I've gone up on age group, so I'm coaching an older age group who play more games during midweek during the summer because of exams. So I have got the time to play a bit more now. But I got to the point where, because in the same way we talk about cricket in such a positive way, it drained me by the end. I was turning up every week playing on wickets. So I was like, I'm not going to get runs here. Even if I do well, I'm not going to doing well here is getting 40. And it's like it was so demoralising being on playing at a level
this is what our sport brings. This is how many times can you turn up to a place where you've not looked at the opposition, you've not looked at a situation, you've simply looked at a piece of ground that has been growing, and you go, nah, this ain't my day today. What? Nah, it just ain't my day. And I just think that is the epitome of a real cricketer that knows his game. Yeah. As soon as he's seen a little bit of moisture in his screen, well, you're gonna have to go big today, lads. There's the best phrase is one's got your name on it. That is one of the best. Well, you might as well go hard, lads. One's got your name on it. You're like, well, hang on a second. So you get your head down, boy.
While we're on the topic of cricket analogies, is when you rock up and you see a big lad standing in the nets, whacking them, having throwdowns with it in aerial, and then you see a short boundary and you go, oh, for crying out loud. Yeah. Because you just know, away ground, big guy bats on the end of his rig to a short boundary, you know you're getting hoisted away. And you're sitting there going, I guarantee I can't hit it off the square. And this numpty will rock up but what's great is there's not it's so generic. You look at all these Twitter pages. I'm not going to name them because there's loads, but you look on there and the clips you see and the things people write is so on point. It's stuff about the showers, like, and I know it sounds great just to drop that in the sentence. The showers. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Everyone that plays cricket knows the showers is a sacred place.
The shower, and I think we could actually do an entire episode on just the showers. But it's a rite of passage for a young player. It is a rite of passage when it comes to the shower.
You've got to learn. You've got to learn. If you don't pack a towel, you're in trouble. This was one of the things about
bat, gloves, helmet, box, towel, spikes. It's literally
shower gel. This is one of the things at uni that set everyone apart. You'd have to the night before, right? So and so, you're on shower gel duty.
Yeah, you've got to. There's only one guy who brings it. There's only one guy.
What's the point of having 6 shower gels? They'll get left in the
you've got to remember, if you bring your shower gel one week, it ain't coming home with you because it's empty. Because everyone uses it, and then the old squirt comes out. What
about the squirt on the head when you're washing your head?
Classic. It's a classic.
We're giving away all our ammo now. By the end, this is going to be a 17-hour-long podcast, and we'll end the series before we've even started it. We'll be like, what is it? It's light again because it's gone past dark. But guys, that's just a little snippet into how easy it is for us to get into the conversation. But yeah, going back to the point, it's fantastic. It's fascinating how we've come from different. I'm not going to say backgrounds because it's not that deep, but we come into the game from different ways, from different perspectives. But yet the same thing drew us together. And actually, it's the same thing that keeps us loving the game and actually gave us the motivation to go out and start our own cricket companies and work in the game full time, because it is difficult doing the hobby that your biggest hobby as something that you do for work, because you can grow to hate it sometimes. It's anything.
Definitely. And look, we're not asking for capes. You know, people have stopped me in the street, shook my hand, and called me a hero. And yeah, of course I sign a few autographs and kiss a few babies. I'm not saying that I don't. But I know exactly what you mean. I mean, and like I say, with what this podcast is going to bring, we're going to try and keep it as open as we possibly can and kind of look at so many different views, because I think the one thing that cricket allows is, like I said earlier, there's so many different opinions within it, and it differs between club to club when it comes to rivalries, when it comes to elite. You know, what other sport can you turn up and there be a professional player who's played international cricket 2 weeks ago playing? Like, what other sport can you go, oh, he is playing today, is he? Oh, okay. You know, it's ridiculous, and that's the sort of stuff that we'll talk about. And whether you like it or not, we're going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care. We're here for ourselves. We just want to sit and talk to a camera. If there's anyone at the other end, brilliant. But we've got the conversation, the two of us. And actually, it might drive us mad, but if it drives a few of you mad with us, then we've been successful. But yeah, on that topic, it's mad that you just have your international rock up one week. Next week you're playing against a bloke that can't even walk in a straight line. It's just it's crazy, and it's a sport that we love, and it's what brings us back to this same point. But yeah, I mean, before we end up waffling on too much more, we will be promoted. We will be letting you guys know what we're covering each week. We are very much open to getting your feedback and getting questions, like we said earlier on in the podcast. Hopefully this first one hasn't been too long and waffling on. Hopefully you get to know us a little bit more. You'll probably end up finding out more than you even wanted to know, but that's part and parcel of what a podcast is. We will be putting a lot of ourselves into this. And that's something, actually, before we finish, that's something that I found so much fun about doing the Instagram lives, is the fact that we're not just like going to sit here in front of a camera like a robot and say, I pick Virat Kohli because he averages 45, or averages, you didn't tell me now, he averages 50, but or I'm going to choose this bowler because they do this. We have a laugh with things as well. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do. It's about get your personality across. And I think, hopefully, and even if you don't like us, we're probably never going to see half you anyway, so it doesn't matter. But in the other side of things, it creates debate. And some people might create debate over the state of my facial hair, over the state of my haircuts, over what I'm wearing, over my backdrop. But that's what life is. That's what life is.
Yeah.
And we go again.
Boundary to Boundary is more than just it's a name. It is going to be a lifestyle for us. It means absolutely everything goes. And like you say, when it comes to our personality, I think you're going to realise quicker than not that we're both two idiots who just love cricket. And I think, and for me at 2020, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No,
absolutely. So guys, a massive thank you for tuning in today to the first episode. we will be doing topics, and we'll be trying our best to stick to those topics in the coming weeks. Let us know in the comments below if you guys have any suggestions that you'd like to see us talk about. Anything goes in terms of cricket-related topics. And I think we'll try and keep this as regular as we can. We're definitely going to be uploading. We were talking about cricket enough. So thank you again so much for tuning in. Thank you for support. We'll talk about it in the first episode, but beyond that, it's going to be all Boundary2Boundary stuff. We do run 2 coaching companies as well on Instagram and on YouTube. So there's Buzz About Cricket, Buzz's channel, and Top Cricket Academy, which is my channel, shared with the other 2 boys. But guys, like I said, thank you so much, and we look forward to speaking to you very soon.
Yeah, massively. And like Dave's already said, the more interaction that we can get from the people that listen to this, and the more interaction we can get from both our 2 channels, the more topics that we can discuss. And that's all that matters. There, like I've said numerous times, don't think about censorship or anything like that. If you've got something that you think that would be fun to listen to and to discuss, give us a shout, and we'll do our utmost to kind of put it to rights.
Brilliant. Buzz, thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure, mate. I'm really excited over this venture, and I'm glad to get the first one out there and let it continue for a long time.
Absolutely. The beginning of something beautiful, and that's not just the 2 of us. Right. Take care, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. It's all right.